What's up, y'all? It's Claude Kelly.
Yo, I'm Chuck Harmony.
And we are Lewis York. Now, I need y'all to check out our boy David Duane with On Air with David Duane.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning back into On Air with David Duane, your one and only rock star on the mic. And right now, we've got our good friends, Lewis York with us, Chuck and Claude Kelly. Now, if you guys don't know, I'm surprised that you guys don't know because, like, they not only have written and produced for some of your favorite artists, but they have, been doing their thing as a group now, and they're brand new album. Finally out the debut album. So if you guys are listening, which I'm sure you guys are, download it so you can kind of understand the conversation. What's going on, guys?
What's up? Happy to be with you, man. Yeah, man. How's it going?
It's going good. Listen, like I was saying before we got started, thank y'all so much and congratulations because y'all have really expanded the brand, and I think that people finally get the music that you guys are doing, and just honestly the fact of feeling free with with R&B music, whether it be in funk, whether it, just crossing genres and not being afraid to be who you are and be black or just not putting a box or label on it.
Amen to that.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir.
That's always been our goal is to not be boxed in. Yeah. We started Louis York to get out the boxes. So we're back to reminding people like, yo, don't put us in them because we're gonna keep you guessing every way.
Yeah.
Exactly. So now let's talk about the response to you guys banding as a group. How has that been overall for you both?
It's been generally positive. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? We haven't. I mean, of course, when you do something new, people that you've known before, some of those people fall off as it relates to life. But for the general population, people that discover Lewis York, whether it's at a show or whether it's on record, the response has been great.
Mm-hmm.
And
And I think it's important also that it's easy to be like everyone wants to have that attitude as artists of like I'm on now, quote unquote, and f everyone who wasn't there for me. But
Yeah.
we see it the other way around. It's like it's all the disappointments, all the people we let go, all the things we let go have made us so much better.
Yeah.
And
right.
so what you realize is you just can't take everybody and everything with you
Yeah. In your new journey.
in your new journey.
Yeah, that's very true. And how would you say that that has made you both strong? Just kind of realizing, whether it be just in life as itself alone without entertainment and music, or in even when you think about being in this business, so that you have to let those things go, get inspired, write great music, and just kind of stay in your focus because that can be difficult at times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all one thing. I think people feel like being a musician means that you can no longer be human as you are, but really we're two men who are growing and learning and becoming stronger spiritually and individually and as a team. And because we're doing that, the music is getting better.
Yeah.
That's really like it's not like we're sitting in the studio and we came up with some crazy formula we didn't have before,
Right.
and now we have this new thing. Really, we've had these tools for a long time. We just because we're smarter, we're wiser, we're more compassionate, and all that stuff. We're able to use our tools way better.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's the important thing. A lot of artists don't know how to utilize the tools that they have that they've been using from the beginning and sticking to a formula. So speaking of formulas, because I work with a lot of different artists and I'm always talking about, finding your formula and really sticking to it and knowing what that is. Don't, go from next project like, okay, what's the formula? What are we doing next? What are we doing next? Go with
Mhm.
what you know and follow that. How important is that to know versus to not know and be lost? Even if you're an artist that's been out there, you might have crazy streams, or an artist that is, a new discovery.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's really about the formula is how do you get to your creativity? Like, what
Mhm.
does that look like? And never stray away from that. Never let outside forces allow you to steer away from how you personally get to your creativity. Like me and Claude, we get to our creativity at the piano by having conversations. That's our formula. That's what works for us because it's tried and true, and we never strayed away from it. From the top of our career, we was sitting at a piano until right now. We working on a song in the studio right now that started at
At
a
a
piano
piano.
in a conversation.
Right.
So that's very important because you don't you everybody have a personalized way that they get to their creativity, and so you should
Mhm.
honor yours and not try to duplicate anyone else's.
Mm. And on the back end of that formula, The only other thing that we have that's a rule is that you don't stop until you really believe in your heart of hearts that it's undeniable.
Yeah.
And that means like it should be giving you chills. You should be jumping up and down, running in the room because you're personally relating to it in a
Yeah.
way that makes you the way music makes you excited. That's the only rule. It could be any kind of song, any tempo, any style, any topic. As long as when you finish it, that story feels like, yo,
Hmm. There's got
what in the world? You got to be messed up by the story and by the music.
Yeah, and it's got to lead you to like to bigger inspiration to to go further with whatever that situation that you were talking about, or to take realization to what that was for yourself, and to where people can say, you know what, I can relate to this story because it talked about this and this and the third, or my best friend, just and that's what we talked about the last time too, just kind of connecting with music that is more relatable versus shit that people don't understand.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
which is a lot of music right now. Shit people don't understand.
Right, and I feel like it's gotten even worse since our last conversation. So, how do you feel that people should be able to, how do you feel like people are adapting to just, the R&B that is out? Because, you guys are in the lane of your own when it comes to the R&B. We've got Her that's doing things. We've got SZA. We've got a lot of great underdogs that are, I wouldn't say they're slept on, but we got some really heavy underdogs in R&B. How do you think that people honestly adapt more to that versus the nonsense that's out there today?
I mean, I think there's this constant conversation that R&B is lacking or dying, and I personally don't think that's more a conversation of how mainstream companies are paying attention to it.
Right.
But there's a lot of talent out there, and more than ever, people are going to see their artists that give them that feeling. They're coming to our show, um, and they're supporting the artists that they believe in. What I do believe also on top of that though is that R&B as a genre is the most stolen from, but the least rewarded for what it brings to the table. And so I think that there's a lot of exhaustion from people because you feel like our ideas kept getting taken, but then we don't get the opportunities that those other artists take from us. So the debate is whether R&B is dead or not. It's certainly not dead. I think people are just finding new ways to find their favorite artists, and it may not be the charts the way they used to be or the radio the way it used to be. It's just lots of different ways. But we're finding our tribe that way. We purposely went independent as our own company so that we didn't have to rely on um, what can be like the exaggerated numbers. We wanted to know we have people for real, like that come and put their butts in seats and buy the music
Exactly.
and feel something. And that to me is a blessing because music is really about touching people. And so getting back to where you're actually communicating, performing for real people is a thing. And if we can be just a little part of encouraging that, then we're part of the solution, not the problem.
Yeah, you guys are definitely part of the solution, and I wanted to even talk about Weirdo Workshop and the Spindellas and how you guys have really, like from incorporating them into the live shows. I mean, from the beginning, that's what you guys were doing, but to see it, especially with like no regrets and getting that whole feel good approach to it, like what y'all do as like
Hmm.
a unit, is so amazing. And people can check, you can even check you guys, performance in like their local cities when you guys hit the town because you guys have been doing shows, consistently. And then not only that, you guys have it on YouTube as well. So being able to, bring, the new music and then even the music from the Trilogy project, how amazing was that to see everything just kind of come to light and then to get the reaction, especially like in Nashville. And then, you guys did some shows in New York as well too.
Hmm. Yeah, it's been super amazing. Sometimes when you're in the studio for long periods of time being creative, you can kind of feel like maybe I'm going crazy. This feels great to me, but I don't know how it's gonna make everybody else feel. And so we were definitely a victim of that with the Masterpiece Theater EPs. It was just like we created this body of work, and we didn't know how people would take that and take us as artists and the whole nine. And so just getting out on that road and seeing that the real effect that music has on people and community have on people, like that's been the most rewarding part of this journey for us, because technically me and Claude, we always could do songs, and write and produce. That's what we've been doing for a long time.
Yeah.
So, but the live element, us getting out and touching people and talking to people, and me expressing myself on piano and Claude expressing himself with his vocals, and seeing how that shift the rooms and how that change people's lives and how that take people who didn't even know who we were and make them instant friends and instant supporters. That's been the most rewarding part of this whole journey for me.
And kind of say that besides the album, the music on the album, and even like the looks, like the fashion, what I would hope that people would really give me and Chuck our credit for is our A&Ring skills
Yeah. And
Yeah,
branding.
and branding.
yeah.
Because really, what this is about was when we first met back in '06, doing Chrisette Michelle. Before we wrote a song for her, we had a conversation about what we would be doing if we had the power to have our own record label, or if we were able to sign artists, and what sounds were missing, which is how we came up with the songs on that first Chrisette album in the first place. The 5 records that me and Chuck did on Chrisette was our answer to what we thought was missing from R&B for a black female that had a jazzy tone back then. And
Mm.
ever since we met then, every single time we've met up, that's been our conversation. So we literally made Weirdo Workshop the place where we could show what we felt was missing or what was being left behind that was important about black culture and black music making. Black music making has a long history of excellent A&R
Yeah.
that we kind of let go of,
Right.
that we learned from. And so we A&R'd ourselves the way we would want a band's be A&R'd, and we've also A&R'd the Shondells the same way. We want people to really know us
Mm-hmm.
and really know these ladies and really know our personalities in the way where when we give them challenging songs or things out the box, they can their head is already wrapped around that because they know what we're capable of.
Right.
And then of course the show is the extension. So when they come to the show, we hold the high standard that we hold when we go to see concerts. We want to be blown away. We want to get our money's worth for the tickets we bought.
Yeah.
And so we make sure we rehearse and that we have a look and that we have the right songs and the song order. Everything about American Griots was well thought out. The order,
Mm-hmm.
the art,
The
the
fashion.
fashion, the interludes, the whole thing makes us excited because that's what we loved about music. That's what we loved about Rhythm Nation and Crazy Sexy Cool and Bad and many albums that we talk about in here all the time. And that's what we want to show is that we're good singers and writers and players and all stuff, but our vision for what we see for black music is what I think sets us apart.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you know what? It's good that you both are touching on the fact of A&R, because A&R is something that's really lacking, whether it's independent music and whether it's mainstream music. Why
Yeah.
do you think there's such lack of knowledge towards the A&R department? Like, and people are just going on and they're like, okay, cool, let's throw this project together. Or there's because we see people getting these A&R jobs, but they have no slight clue. Like they're not even as experienced as you guys. They're like
Yeah.
new, fresh out of college. Maybe if they went to college, or it's like, hey, let's give our buddy this job because they
Right.
were, doing something else.
Yeah. I think that's the problem with the music business. A lot of times it becomes so relationship driven that you never get to the bottom line of people's skill set
Yeah, who's
and
qualified?
who's actually qualified
Hmm.
for certain positions, and especially when it comes to the actual product.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think that Apple and I don't think that Amazon would have unqualified people handling their product. And the A&R is responsible for the product, the actual music product. So you would want that person to be as knowledgeable and as experienced and as capable as possible to get the best product.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the music business is just somebody friend that found an artist that got a couple streams and now they the head of A&R at some major label. They got to tell me about my goddamn drums. You know what I'm
And we've been
saying?
doing music since we
And
were
I've been
like
doing, you
babies.
know what I'm saying? So it gets crazy like that. And so the whole bar of musicality just goes down from, it drops several notches from that scenario alone. You got to have proper A&R, and there has to be a final answer in the room, and the final answer it needs to be solid, and it needs to be music first.
And then to add to that, The really simple answer to it, whether the person has experience or not, is people ain't got no damn taste,
Nope. Zero.
and taste is everything. Taste is knowing when to stop when you've recorded enough, when you haven't recorded enough, what song to go with first, if there what songs match that artist's voice, what looks match that artist, what hairstyle matches that artist, like.
Hmm.
And taste is, you might not even have a whole lot of life experience in music. Like Puffy will tell you that he don't play no instruments, but boy did he have taste.
Yeah.
She sure knew timing and when to drop things, and the order in which to introduce things. And that's missing too. Like everyone should just throw everything out there and throw it against the wall and hope that something sticks. But that's not, we're the only business that does that.
Yeah.
You don't just hire whoever you see playing basketball. You don't just draft in the NBA and then hope that you just luck out and get five that can play really well on the court. You have taste, and you pick the five best players that complement your city, your team, your colors, your atmosphere, your coaching style, and then you have a winning team.
This is true. And I love the fact that you guys, even when you speak of timing, like with this brand new album, so that you guys took, some time to record it, and that's very important. You guys didn't just say, "Hey, let's just, keep throwing out, projects that," even though you did, but it wasn't like it was very timed. Like it was the EP this year, the EP the next year, then it was the single here, and then you guys perform. You got people familiar. You guys didn't just say, "Hey, let's just throw it out." A lot of artists want to do that, and I'm glad that you guys really got that genuine response because this music, oh my gosh, like I love it. Like
Thank you.
Thank you.
of course. So let's talk about what I noticed. There's I know we kind of like touched on it just a little bit within conversation just now, but let's talk about the significance of this album and the story behind the title.
Yeah, so the album's called American Griots, and it's the whole thing is under a theme. It's kind of like our dissertation. We discovered the word griots about a year and a half ago and looked the word up because, again, like Chuck said, we always start with a conversation. And griots are West African songwriters, storytellers, musicians, poets that travel um, from from village to village in West Africa and tell the oral history and tradition of society. And that's been going on for hundreds of years. So that felt like really close to home because we're black, obviously we're American, and we're always looking for ways to explain why music feels so spiritual to us, so natural to us, so deep. And it just felt like it had to go beyond what they tell us our beginning is, which is a slave ship. We know we didn't just learn music on a slave ship. We know it comes from somewhere. So it felt like the right cultural roots to build this album from. And of course, we didn't name the album The American Griots because that would have been us basically saying, look at us, we're the only two, you can't get like us. But really, we made it general, just American Griots, because not only is it the title of our album and our theme, but it's also a call to action for our peers, for future musicians, for the business, for the world, to take that mantle seriously. Like if you're doing music, no matter what your role is in this business. If you're in the business of helping to facilitate this language of music, then it comes with a responsibility because people will be going from town to town, spreading this word, spreading these melodies, and so we put that title as a responsibility for us, but also for people to hear the whole album. It's like, yo, these guys really thought this through. I mean, that's what we should be doing with our music too.
Right. And they should, because there should never be a moment where you're like, oh, let's just give this, that, and through and give it a title, and there'd be no conceptual lineup in this, this thinkage of, okay, this is where this track is going to be, and this, then, and a third. There's always nowadays there's an offness, and I think people need to take key into that. Like, don't put a project and it be half ass,
I agree.
because we
I
see
totally
it too
agree.
often. It doesn't even matter if it's R&B. So we even see it in pop sometimes, and that's almost annoying as hell. It's like, how do you have already a formula there when it comes to pop music that you really don't have to follow, or even with hip hop? Why they mess it up?
Right.
There's a general laziness across the board. Um, there's a lot of reasons why that could be. I mean, technology is a lot faster. It's easier to get music. We've talked to a lot of people about this along the way. We talk about it actually a lot on our podcast on We Sound Crazy about why music is the way it is, and we don't have an answer. But a big part of the solution, a big part of the problem, is that people in general, society doesn't value music the way they used to. It's
Mhm.
like people don't. Music doesn't stop time the way it should, and that's partly I'm not sure whose fault that is, but that's what we're fighting against is trying to remind people that what we do is valuable and that music is valuable because it's the soundtrack of our lives, and that bleeds into every genre: pop, jazz, R&B, hip hop, rock, country. Everyone's suffering from that.
Yeah, they definitely are. And let's talk about the record All in My Feelings, because when I heard that record from like the jump, I got all of my feelings and I just was feeling good, and it was just such a great album opener. I've not really heard a lot of albums that had a great album opener in this year at all, besides maybe one other artist who I can't even think of. But just having such delivery, let's just, when it comes to track listing and the delivery with that record, why was it so important to put that right after the intro for you?
Yeah, the intro was burst out of the beginning of All in My Feelings. We kind of knew that All in My Feelings, once we got the songs together, we kind of knew that that was the first song that was going to be on the album, because Claude says, "Pass the microphone, because I got something to get off my chest." That was the
Hmm.
opening line of the album, and so the album intro was kind of birthed out of that sound of All in My Feelings. That they were actually supposed to be married together, but because on the digital platforms they have to have a separate track listing, we made a separate track listing for the album intro, but they're all supposed to flow
Bleed
into
together.
bleed together. So, but yeah, it was. We knew that All in My Feelings. First of all, it's a classicness to the production, but mainly it's the words. It's what he's saying first that made that the obvious choice for the first song on the album.
Yeah. And what would you say was the inspiration behind that record? Like what state
Uh,
were you in with that?
lots of. I mean, first of all, topic wise, like we wanted to set the tone right away and say, like, listen, we got a lot. There's a lot on our mind and on our
Hmm.
hearts. So we wanted to put all that like concern and worry and fear and all that stuff that's happening in the world and in us, that tension at the beginning of the record, so you could feel that. But musically, it's a lot of our influences in that song. It's Phil Collins, it's Sade, it's Michael Jackson, it's I mean, there's jazz elements in there. We listen to a lot of different kinds of music, and we're influenced, and then we make our own Lewis York sound. But we uh we talk about the artists that we are influenced by that may not be getting the mainstream love, or that people are missing out on that feeling, and we try to bring that stuff back in our own unique way. So that first song is lush on purpose and dramatic and emotional and beautiful, because that's what we think is missing, especially from two black men putting themselves forward. Like when are two black men expressing themselves, showing their face, singing their heart out, playing their heart out, horn arrangements, all that stuff. So we wanted to put that up right at the beginning, so you know what you're getting yourself into.
Exactly. And it was a good way for new fans that might have never heard the music before get dive right into the project and be like, "Oh, snap. Okay, I'm with this right from the jump." Versus those who are, because we, like you both said, there's really not that space of vulnerability too often where you see two black men and they're really giving their all. They're touching on subjects that need to be touched on. And the music is as unique as it is because you guys have, taken that time, to really brand yourself and all the work that you're doing and figure out what the uniqueness was that could actually make this work without it being a gimmick where it was more so genuine than anything.
Right.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I
So
know
now,
you get us.
listen, I got y'all from the first conversation we had, and I was like, I get it. I get it. Like you said, people can think y'all are weird and stuff like that, but it's like when you're experiencing this business and stuff like that, there's no such. I mean, hell, anybody in this business is weird, but people don't understand. the methodology around music and how this business is supposed to go. There's a lot of people that troll on social media and say, "Oh, it should have been this. It should have been this." Well, I wish you guys would have some experience before you tell us what it could be.
Right.
Man, can we just clone you
Right. Call you
a million
a
gazillion
million times.
times and just send you out into the world just to say what you're saying? Thank you.
Of course. So now, let's talk about Glow, because that record is, going from, all of my feelings to Glow. Just, because there's a little bit of a different evolution change between each record. I mean, it's all a consistent, cohesive sound. But when you think about Glow from All of My Feelings, how do you feel like fans can, interpret the lyrics of that?
Mm.
Mm. Glow is a celebration um, of a lot of things. I mean, the lyrics are pretty straightforward. It's like, I can't sit down off my feet right now because, baby, you got that glow. That that in itself is just a feel good party starter. Any party, any function, any barbecue, like dance to this thing. But there's also an element of real deal rock and roll to that song. And when I say rock and roll, I mean like Chuck Berry, Little Richard, that goes up throughout the generations to some of the people we were influenced by later on. It's obviously Ray Charles, and then later on like Billy Joel and people like that. That that record was influenced by, that we're very proud of, and everything about us live is in that song.
Mhm.
Live, me and Chuck would just be going back and forth, just having a blast. He's
Y'all go
playing,
off.
going ham, and I'm singing, and the Shandellas are going in, and that's part of what black music is about. It's not only just the serious, deep, um, kind of somber stuff. We're celebratory people. We're bright and colorful. We got that glow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Our skin glows, our culture glows, our whole vibe glows, and that song to me is a celebration of everything that we are.
it
Um,
definitely is. Because like you said, there's a huge glow in what you guys do, and especially the live performances, which, oh my gosh, I'm ready for like the tour next year.
Yeah,
oh
man. Oh
yes,
yes.
oh
So how
yes.
so how soon is that coming? Because people have to experience a show with you guys if they haven't. Like, it's like a must, but they have to see it mostly. I would say the number one place they gotta go is so they can really get that feel. They gotta come to Nashville.
You
Yeah,
gotta come to
man. Gotta come on to
Nashville.
They
Nashville.
have to come to Nashville.
Nashville shows are just a whole different. That hometown, that whole town Nashville shows, man. They go. We're doing a show December 7th at
Yeah.
Franklin Theater
But our tour not kicking back off until spring of
of
next year.
2020. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we're gonna try and we're gonna do our best to bring all these American Griot surprises with us. We want y'all to experience Patrick and Caroline and the Shandellas and all that stuff.
Yeah, sir.
Listen, they got to, because it's a hell of a show. And just when you guys think about the preparation of, you know shows now versus from when you guys first started as a group, how different is it, or would you say it's all similar?
It's evolving. You know what I'm saying? And we really understand because we've been out on the road now. We really understand the kind of people that come to the show and how broad our audience is, and so we can kind of be a lot more far-reaching with our chances as far as I mean taking chances on the live front.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Now that's amazing, and it's good that you guys have really have kept it to the consistency of it, and just really just perfecting at it. Because like I said, it's a hot show to see. So now let's also talk about the podcast.
Let us talk about the podcast.
Yeah.
Talk
So
all about it. So what made you guys want to decide to come up with the concept for the podcast and just really talk um more to the people just about music and what you guys are all about?
Well, the podcast is honestly an extension of kind of what happens behind the scenes with us. So, like Chuck said, we all of our stuff starts with a conversation, and by conversation it could be a debate, a frustration, a what the fuck moment. Like we're reading the blogs, we're watching the news, and that gets us all hot. And honestly, most of our friends that are around us, um, we have those same conversations with. So Phil. Thornton, who's also our co-host on We Sound Crazy, and Timon Bacon. These are all our homies from Nashville, Franklin area that we get up and order Chinese food on the weekends and talk about the state of music or the state of the world or the state of Black culture. And after a while, we all just kind of felt like that conversation needed to be recorded for the legacy of it all. To
Mm,
between the four of us, we know so many parts of the music industry, so many. We've all done so much. We've all known and been through so many different doors that it felt like it was our time to confidently share what we've been going through, but also at the same time just let people in on our on the silly banter we have. Like, because we drop a lot of jewels, but it's also mixed between a lot of laughter and jokes and great music. So
exactly.
it's a way for you to get to know all of us, all four of us, a lot better, and that's really who we are. Maybe a little more cussing in real life.
Listen, some people need that because it's real and it's raw. And when you think about having this podcast and creating a platform where people are able to, really get to know you guys outside of just the music, even for myself in being, multifaceted as well too. How important is that? Because, we get in such a space where people say, "Oh, I don't really know who this person is," or "I feel like I'm getting to know too much of it." But you guys are really branding yourself in a way where it's not too much, but it's just right.
Yeah, and I feel like it's important. I think everybody have their version, their best version of themselves to give to people. And I think part of ours is having a little mystery and letting people in on our intellect. You know what I'm saying? Not so much our personal life, but our intellect and how we think about things, like how we A&R things and the conversations we have about music and music business, because that shape how we run Weirdo Workshop, that shape how we give lectures at schools, that shape our tiny book club. It shapes all of that stuff. So I think it for us it's very important to really walk that fine line between mystery and giving of yourself, because your gift is to be given.
Exactly. And that knowledge does help to, expand upon people. That way they know more about, the business and then, just being open minded too. There's not enough open minded souls. I mean, there is, but there's a lot of closed minded souls too.
Right. That's true.
And we have a lot of dope ass guests on the show too that like that don't get praised enough, or if they do, we try to tell the stories and ask the questions that people don't know about. So just we're kind of wrapping up our first season right now. We've had someone like some pretty we've had Taj SWV and PJ Morton, um, Selena Johnson, Cortland Finnegan, Kirk Franklin, all kind of people like that have really been influential. But the conversations we get out of them because we're all peers is realer than real. You don't get like the PR spin. You get like, yo, here's what really happened, and they're being themselves. I think it's important that people are able to hear from us and from our peers what it's really like in this business, what the ups and downs were, and how crazy it is. Because it's crazy. That's why we call it We Sound Crazy.
Yeah, even though we not crazy.
We're not
We
crazy.
just
We
sound
just
crazy.
sound crazy.
We are not crazy in any shape or form. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming back and chat with me today. Definitely appreciate it. And congratulations once again on the brand new album, the
Thank you.
Thank
podcast.
you.
Weirdo Workshop just, really expanding itself. Spindellas, they're really, oh my gosh, the girls are sounding amazing.
Thank
Super
you, man.
Oh, we just getting started too.
Yeah, man. We're working on the album now.
Working
You
on
be
their
prepared.
album right now.
Ooh, so how soon can we expect that? Or
2020, 2020,
2020. Yeah,
2020,
man.
2020, 2020. It's
20?
we're in the studio right now, so I don't want to give you a definitive date, but just know that the same effort that went into American Griots is going into the Shindellas. So it's gonna be bonker. It's gonna be a creative force.
Listen, if they don't know, they about to find out, and they got to get on this train now.
Get on
Yes,
the
Lord.
train. Get
Get
on the
on the
train.
train.
So now tell everybody, just in case they don't follow, which y'all know I get very frustrated with people not following y'all. But where can they follow you guys? Catch up on all things that Lewis York is doing, and download the new project.
Absolutely. Louis York Music, Louisyork Music. is our socials for Twitter, for Instagram, for Facebook. And you
And
can
Weirdo
and weirdoworkshop.com is the name of our company, and it's where it houses all the information. You can get to our socials from there. You can buy the music, you can stream the music, you can buy merch, the Weirdo Workshop t-shirts, the whole 9 yards. Get to know me and Chuck and the ladies and the whole Nashville movement. We answer back. We love people. We're looking for our tribe, so we want people to follow us. We want people to check out the website so they can get to know what Weirdo Workshop, Lewis York, and the Shindellas are about.
Exactly. And one last question: where is one area? It can be whether it can be like a country, or it can be a different type of business. Where would you guys want to expand your brand?
Mm.
It's a good
That's a
question.
good question.
See, you ain't know I was throwing that one at you.
We talk about London, or we talk about the UK
Europe, yeah.
UK a lot, because
UK.
we've done some work over there, but that's such they love music over there, and so we talk about being knowing that our music would fit perfectly over there.
And since there's two of us, we can both give an answer. So I would I would say Japan.
Ooh,
I know they love soul music over there, and if we're craving it, I know they're craving it. So uh, international is on our mind, and we have our sights set on it. So hopefully the whole world eventually.
Yeah,
listen, London and Japan is just
Yeah.
perfect for you guys' music, and especially for the fact that the music that y'all do, London is going to appreciate it, and Japan, just the whole Asian culture in itself. I can see it now. Louis York live in Japan. Louis
Let's
come
go.
London, let's
live
go.
in UK. 2020
2020,
I
let's
love
go.
it.
live in Korea. You know what I'm saying? Like
Live
you,
in Korea.
I
because
like
you
it.
guys. I mean, you guys get that funk that they like those clubs that they have there.
Yeah,
You
Oh
got
yeah,
come on now, y'all know y'all can do no regrets and I mean just all the hits that you guys have out right now in those clubs and doing for
yeah.
like 4 or 5 months, 7 months.
man. That's
That's
what
the
this
goal.
album is
That's the
for. That's the
plan.
goal. That's the goal. That's definitely the goal.
So listen, thank you guys so much. Definitely, of course, keep in touch, guys. Make sure you guys continue to follow Lewis York on all social platforms. Lewis York, guys. Thank you so much. And listen, I'm looking forward to the show, and I still have to come to Nashville. Y'all know after that conversation we had, I never went, I never came, but I'm
Well,
going.
now's a good time.
Come on to
Come on,
Nashville.
come
Come
through.
hang with your boy.
And you said the show for Nashville is when, just so everybody can buy their tickets.
It's December 7th, Franklin Theater. You can get them at weirdoworkshop.com or franklintheater.com.
Boom. So just like that, guys, get those tickets.
Get them. And we just want to thank you, man, for being a continuous supporter of the music, of music in general, but specifically our music. You've been down since day one, since the Masterpiece Theater days. So it's always great to talk to you and catch back up. And we should continue to do that. But thank you for just showing us mad love. We really appreciate it here.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Thank you guys for creating great music. I mean, when the album came out, I was just like, yo, this was what I needed all year.
Wow. Well, we're just ushering y'all into a new decade the right way. You feel what I'm saying to you? This is the soundtrack taking you into 2020. American Griots.
Boom, just like that, y'all.